All right. Welcome to life coaching classes and videos by Universal Recovery 360. I am your host, Pernell Basin, and I want to talk about something today. When I brought up oppositional defiance disorder a while back, um, my statement was if you think it stops at the ages of 12 or 13, like they say in the books, right? Somebody better tell these people out here that's suffering from it at 22 and 23. Now they're saying, right, that's an issue that you need to learn how to fight in a sense, right? You need new certifications now. When I said adamant denial transference therapy, right? ADTT, right? Brought this up along with another modality called truth therapy, 2015. Sent it to SAMHSA. Now they're doing denial work. We need a certificate for that. These things are changing so fast, right? And then when you look at like the board certified behavioral tech, right? You're looking at 8 years, right? 8 years. Like this thing been out since forever, right? 8 years of experience you gotta have. A lot of people never even heard of it yet. Applied behavior analysis. I've been using behavior analysis since 2000 and what? 5? Because I understood a long time ago, right, that people always tell you the truth, even when they're lying, right? Even when their intent is to deceive, right? They can't help telling the truth, right? That is the thing about this flesh, right? That is the thing that makes it like so great. There's like certain things that just have to happen, right? And it does matter that you learned how to pay attention, right? So that's another thing I teach people. Learn how to pay attention, right? Learn how to read people, right? Learn how to read yourself, right? Uh, Pay close attention to what's going on inside you, right? So you can identify with the feeling so that when you see it in somebody else, right, you know what you're looking at, right? I've been telling people this shit since the beginning of time. Now all of a sudden you need certifications, right, to even discuss it. They put a few big words in there, gave us some certifications, gave us some classes, and now they can make sure that you understand something you probably been doing since forever. But my problem is that they confuse education, right? See, there was a time when you could equivalent all kind of work, electrical work. If you had 4 years experience in electrical work, it was the equivalent of a person who was certified electrician. If you had 4 years of hands-on computer repair work, right? Uh, it was the equivalent of A plus certification. Now, if you got 4 years of computer work, it just goes into the credentials. It just adds on as credits, almost like CEUs, almost like just added on education, right? It has no qualification, right? So what you learn on your own has no qualification. If you didn't learn it in a manner where some state stamped it, right, you didn't learn it. You could have read the same book they read. You could have did the same work they did years before they even knew they needed to do it, right? But if you ain't got that stamp that say they know, you don't know. And it don't matter how many times you tell people you know. If you ain't got that paperwork, you don't know. You the only way to prove you know is to show it in the person that you're talking to. And the reason I said in the person that you're talking to, because it don't matter who it is you're talking to, you can use applied behavior analysis. Listen, most certifications, like certified addiction counselor, uh, is mostly about terminology and routines, right? So they want to make sure you know how to run the routine, right? The way they need it to be run in the system that they put out there, right? So they create a system, right? They make part of your education learning how to use that system, right? So when you become authorized to help people, right, is once the system has decided you understand the wording, the system has decided you understand what they're looking for, not what you see. Once you get that paperwork, you will realize that the system has decided, right, that you now fit their criteria, right, to do a job, right, that you've been good at. Don't get me wrong, I've met people who are educated, right, and don't give a shit about people, and they still making money. They killing them. They got nice houses, nice cars, kids, the whole 9 yards, right? I've met them. And then I've met people, right, who are educated that actually understand, right, the box that education goes in, right? And so they'll term it out, right? They'll term it out in due process, right? But they'll make it connect. And when I see that, I give the utmost respect, the utmost praise, right? The utmost respect, right? Because it means you took the time to find out how it connects, right? And then you've actually connected it, right? I've been doing this shit for 30 years now. Right? One of the things I always tell people is I study self, right? I put the books down a long time ago. When it comes to learning other things like why y'all want to call it applied behavior analysis, which when applied means after the fact, right? But um, I know y'all got y'all reasons because y'all sneaky like that. But um, one of my biggest things is when you're dealing with a place, right, that gets to dictate, right, the rules and the regulations, right, you got to find a way to fit the criteria. Otherwise, you're going to have to find a way to get around it, right? Now, there are ways to get around it with the intent to deceive, and there are ways to get around it with truth, right? Hard work, honesty, right? Put yourself out there, right? But the reality is, right, it is not designed to help you get somewhere if you cannot afford school. Loans, of course, they're going to make loans available to you, right? I've seen people with loans. They have gotten extra loans on top of the loans, and these loans are for like 133%. How's that even legal? Right? These things have to all be approved by some state, some province, some statute, some general ordinance, right? In God we trust. In the General Ordinance Division we trust, right? These things should be modified to fit proper criteria now. But here's the deal, right? you will have to be able to identify, right, what the training, right, identifies. If you don't have the training, you're going to have to be able to prove you identify with what the training says. You're going to have to prove that your natural routine runs the gambit of the training routines. Right? You're going to have to prove that you have been doing this shit way before they even came out with some shit like that. But my point to all this is, right, um, if the thing that makes you good, right, and I'm in recovery, right, I work in treatment. If the thing that makes you good at what you do is the same thing that makes it hard for you to get a job, right, you will understand this video. Because there's always that, right? How'd you get so good at this? I went through this, and that. Oh, we can't hire you because of the things you went through, even though those are the things that make you good at what you do, right? There's something wrong. There's something wrong with the system, right? Because you got people out there that are really fucking good at things, and they can't do them because the thing that makes them good at what they do is also the thing that won't allow anybody to bond them long enough to do it or to get it done. So there's a system out there that says, right, you can pay your dues to society, get your rehabilitation, come out a new person, start over. I know firsthand that's not true. You gotta work. You gotta work 3 times as hard from the time you completed your rehabilitation, right? Because that's when the actual real work begins, right? See, when you guys get out of prison, you have a projected return date. Depending on how long you've been in there, they figure you're gonna get out. A couple of people gonna be happy to see you. You have a place to stay. You probably go home with $100 or some shit like that. After a while, you're gonna start looking for work. You're gonna need clothes. You're gonna be eating up somebody's food. You're gonna go back to doing what you do best because ain't nobody gonna be trying to hire you because your background is so fresh, even though you're rehabilitated, right? So you're gonna end up their idea is that you're gonna get out, right? You're gonna try hard. You're gonna give up. You're gonna do what you do best, and you're gonna get arrested, and you're gonna go back, and they'll put a time on that. 11 months. They figure in 6 months he'll fight for 6 months. By the 7th month he'll be hanging out with the other people. Before you know it, by month 9 he'll either be using, selling, or robbing and stealing. Right? That is their deconstruction of your tomorrow. They will literally break down your future and tell you what your future is based on statistics. Free country. You better pay attention. I just wanted to get that out there. There's a lot of research out there, right, that people are using. There's a lot of modalities people are, creating based on the standards of modalities, not just out there saying put these 2 words together, that's great. No, actually coming up with a routine, a modal that works, right? That works, right? And the proof that it works is in the pudding, right? I created 2 modalities and I sent them to SAMHSA. And that's why I argue with them all the time about the dumb shit, right? I don't have any of those degrees and none of that stuff. It's never it has always, I ain't gonna say never, it has always stopped me from moving up. But there's other things that apply to it as well that make it not necessary to get the degrees because they can't help. Because I'm still not going to be able to get it even with or without the degree because it's bigger than the degree. Rehabilitation. Um, so there's a lot of training, right, that won't benefit me. What do you do in that case? I've read more college books than most colleges have. It sounds weird, but if you're looking at it per curriculum, that's one thing. What I'm talking about is the amount of books you go and see that a college has when they start up. More college books. I've read more college books than that, even though there's all the same, like 160 of the same book. There's 100. No, I've read 160 different books, right? I've read a bunch of books. Um, like I said, when it comes to things outside of me, I'll do all the research. I'll do my own research, right? I'll research it for days in, days out, days in, days out, months in, months out, years in, years out. I'll research until I feel like my research makes sense. I researched truth, freedom, and peace. Actually, and love. I researched all of them, right? 2 years apiece, literally. 2 years working, looking within with love, looking without with love. 2 years looking within with truth, looking without with truth. 2 years looking within with peace, looking without with peace. 2 years looking within with freedom, looking without with freedom. I put the work in, right? I've read. Doesn't mean I remember everything I read, right? It just means that I understand what they put in there, and I understand why they having the conflict of interest, but I also understand that it's designed that way for long-term effects, right? Can't make a person go to school and spend hundreds, thousands of dollars on something that they can fix, yes, like that. Right? There's no benefit in that, right? So it has to be long-term, right? So I understand how they teach you how to marginalize it, how they teach you how to keep the person um, confused about the length of process, right? Because once you tell a person something, that's it, right? The process begins. That's it. The process don't begin. That's when your process begins, right? On creating a routine for what you just taught them, right? Because they create their own routine if they knew that. Right, so you create the routine, right? That's when that process begins. So once they get the routine, right, then the next part of the process is what? Teaching them how to see it coming, right? Right? Because they already know how to catch it after the fact. They already know how to see it crashing, right? Now your job is to keep them from crashing, right? Catch it before the crash, right? Way before the crash, right? Get it back on track, right? There's always going to be a cycle of something to do next, right? And that's the way it was created, right? Long term, long term. Right? So if you got the majority of the world on long term, right, therapy, right, and they all being recycled through the routine of the system, right? Because contrary to popular belief, it is not treatment centers that recycle people. It is the creation of the applied packages and the work that people have to do according to your certifications, right? And degrees in order to qualify as somebody that helps people, right? Your rules fucked it up. They just manipulating your rules. But then again, you let the people create the rules, right? They get the benefit from the rules. So of course they're gonna make sure they benefits them and not the people that's supposed to be getting help, right? But you're a good person and you running the rituals of the rules, right? And you trying to have your own standards, right? Because you know the rules ain't really, you know that person can't really afford what they paying you, but, you know, right? They paying you cash, right? This ain't no insurance card here. Go punch that. No, they paying you cash or check or whatever the case may be. It's coming directly out of their money, right? You're watching it dwindle. You charge them 200, what, $300 an hour, and you've been seeing them for 6 months, maybe twice a week for 6 months, right? For 1 hour. So you've been making $600 a week, $2,400 a month, right? For 6 months, about $14,000 of their savings just dwindled. $14,000. That's one person, right? For 6 months, that's $14,000. That's what most people that work at Burger King make yearly, and it's all designed to keep them coming back. Ain't no different from music. Ain't no different from TV, right? That's the problem with system, right? That's the problem with rules, right? They create them in a way that has back doors, right? That are designed to create something that they can benefit from. If they can't benefit from it, it ain't being released. They might throw a bone every now and then, but everything they do is designed so that the beneficiaries, right, remain the same, right? And this recycling money. Why do you think a therapist is required to have a therapist? That's the dumbest shit I ever heard. No, the dumbest shit I ever heard is that once you become a senator, according to the Constitution, you can no longer reside in the state, right? That you are the senator of. So if you lived in Delaware, right, and you decide to run for Senate office, right, and you won because all the people in Delaware know your hometown, right, your country boy, whatever the case may be, and you win. Now you gotta leave Delaware because you have to live in the District of Columbia because you have become sovereign. They don't say all that part, but that's what it means. Right? You can no longer live in the state that you represent. So these people get in there, they grew up in there, now they've been in there 30 years, they ain't from there no more. And the only time they come around is election time. Same routine for years, right? Y'all just think it survives because people keep growing and new people keep coming, and so they all fall victim to the same routine because they all want to follow the same people who actually have no future, right? Whose outcome is definitely destined to go blah, right? To be fucked up, right? These are the people you put your trust in. I mean, seriously, right? You got pillagers, right? Their job was to travel looking for stuff, right? They say trade, we say pillage. You know the deal, right? Back then, people would travel, go to other places. The strong survive, right? You had a bunch of pillagers come and decide they want to be civil, right? No, they didn't decide they want to be civil. They decided they wanted to remain pillagers while everyone else, right, fell victim to the system they created that separated them, right? Like the firmament that separated the waters from above from the waters below, right? To give them control. Gods. They decided that shit. They was like, yeah, we know this is how it works, but this is how we want you to work it for them. Yeah. So they created a system, these pillagers, right? That says they can still pillage, rape, rob, steal, right? They get caught. You see them 2 or 3 times on the news. Next thing you know, they disappear. Right? People that are below that threshold of government, right? They get caught for the same thing. 30 years. You think it's color? It's ritual. They created a system that says we can play up here while y'all suffer down there. Right? You both playing. We playing the sufferer, they playing the happy. You both playing as above, so below. Right? But just remember, right? The reason outcomes don't last is because idiots made them, right? They made them thinking about the future, right? The way their present was at the time. They didn't make them advancing into the future and thinking about advancements in the future. They made them in the future based on the time they were in. That's like saying, I made a new uh, phonograph, right? No, I just copied the old one. Simple shit. Anyway, right. Research is always good, right? But the key thing that's going to separate you from everyone else is when you apply the research to yourself first, right? Get some understandings on how the research works, how the outcomes work, how long they take, and things like that. Base that on who you are, how you function, knowing yourself, right? And when you look at other people, you could do the same math that you're doing on yourself with them. And you can see the difference, right? Numbers don't lie. It's easy to identify issues. It's easy to help someone fix the issues, right? What's hard is when the issue is not the priority. That's what makes it hard. You make everything else the priority. Right? Kipu. I watch the same note go in Kipu over and over and over and over and over. About that much of the sentence is different because it has to be acceptable for you guys, the state. It has to make sense. The wording has to be particular. And so they just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. You turn them into robots, and then you want to get mad at them and penalize them for being robotic. That's what I'm talking about. It's the same thing you're doing to the flesh. But the flesh fights back. And you are going to lose if you don't give it its credit. Anyway, I got to go. I got a lot more shit coming up. I got a lot more stuff I want to talk about. Hopefully this made some sense to you. Hopefully you figure some stuff out and you stop personalize your life, connecting it to routines and rituals that are false, right? That's why you can't get better, right? Their rituals and routines are false, right? Peace.